What up, dudes? Robby here. So I'm probably going to be doing my last, well, I don't even know why I should say that. It's definitely not going to be my last pitch grip tutorial breakdown, because I'm probably going to change a grip and then have to talk about it. But I've been getting a lot of questions recently pertaining to my new Slurve grip. Just before we get into the grip itself, backstory on why I'm going with a Slurve, just to give you some insight on what a Slurve is. So you have the curveball, right? Not ideally, curveball is 12 to 6, depending on the arm slot, could change obviously the trajectory of the movement. But for me, it was always at the 12-6 curveball, because I was coming over the top with a 6-12 spinning fastball. So the curveball like this, and then my cutter more lateral like this movement, not much depth. Slider was going to be, I was shooting for a bullet slider, which means that a lot of bullet spin is going to make the ball kind of go perceived like it's going straight, and then that side spin, back spin, top spin, all that spin that does influence the movement of the pitch will then take over and have late bite. That's called like a bullet slider, gyro slider. That's what I was going for. I haven't really mastered that. Kind of another project for another time. But recently I decided to drop my arm angle a little bit, get away from my head. And now the Slurve, I think, is going to be a really cool opportunity to create potential swing and miss, which is like my biggest goal for life in general, is just getting the bat to miss the ball, or getting the ball to miss the bat. So anyways, going into the Slurve, I think the Slurve, I have a better ability to spin the ball, get early movement, but get a lot of movement. Talk about like Slurve kind of blending into what would be called like a sweeping slider, which is going to break early, but it's going to break a lot and maybe catch and have like a second gear going away from a righty or into a lefty. So what I've done with my Slurve grip is, so curveball, I was on this side of the horseshoe. All right, so you have the horseshoe on the right side. For me, the curveball, I would then put my middle finger in, spike, curve, thumb, felt comfortable there. So now with the slider that I was throwing, I would go to the opposite side, so the horseshoe on the left side, I'd find my fastball grip and then tilt the ball. And we talked about this in the slider grip breakdown, where I like to have the crevices of my finger kind of getting that seam in there. So that, what I was trying to do, like I said earlier, with the gyro bullet spinning slider, was that I was trying to find a way to throw it harder, because that was kind of a difficulty for me, getting that bullet slider to be in the 85, 86 mile an hour range. So I kept kind of moving it back. Instead of getting it deeper, I'd move it back to where kind of my cutter was to get it harder, but then I would sacrifice spin axis and the actual spin efficiency of it. Because with the bullet slider, obviously you want a lower spin efficiency number, and I was getting a higher one because I was bunting in my cutter. Anyways, I've literally taken all three of those, so the slider, the cutter, and the curveball, and I've come up with this Slurve. So very similar kind of components to all three of those. The crevices of these fingers here with the horseshoe on the right, but slid way down. So I'm getting it like to the side of the baseball, right? So the horseshoe on the right, I'm getting my middle finger in that little hole here, and then my index finger falls down flat, and I can feel that crevice, or the seam, is in the crevice, right? So now I'm like on the side of the baseball, because with the sweeping slider, with the Slurve, you're obviously going to want a lot of side spin of the ball to make it go in the direction that you want. So then the hardest part for me since developing this pitch has been like, okay, what can I do to create a lot of spin on the side of it? And I think something that's really helped me is the positioning of my thumb, which is a huge reason why I've gone to this grip, because I like having seams, right? So you have the seam here that my thumb can kind of almost pull down on. And I don't know if it's so much that I would teach guys to like, hey, pull down the thumb on the, pull down the seam on the thumb here. I don't think that's so much of a cue, more so than just like having a kind of an input, like a sensory input for where that thumb's going to go, and then where those fingers are going to line up. So if you can see here, there's a lot of baseball on the left side, right? So when I come through, I'm actually kind of coming through like a curveball where my wrist is supinated, and I'm trying to put as much friction on the side of this baseball as possible. So this is why I like having both of these fingers pulling down on that seam, because now I can create a lot of side spin, bullet spin, which I'm going to shoot for. Like, this is a whole new realm for me, because like understanding data metrics for where I was at, now where I am at with the new arm slot and the pitches and all this. But this is something that I would want in the mid spin efficiency numbers, 50, 60. The higher I'm going up, more movement I'm going to get. But then obviously the higher I go up, the probably slower the pitch is going to be. So right now it's right around 73, 75, 76. And I want more deviation, because as I go into this next year, 2022, I'm going to throw a cutter, which is going to probably blend into a slider on the mound. And I'm going to throw the curveball, which who knows where that's going to be, because as a reliever, that curveball can get up to 75, but that's when I'm throwing 95. As a starter, I'm going to be probably 90, 92, 93, 94. So we'll see where that velo is. That's where I'm at right now with the Slurve. I'm thinking sweeping slider. It's okay to have the early break, but it's interesting because now I'm putting so much emphasis on horizontal movement, right, east to west. So I'm trying to get into the double digits of that. Through a live ABs the other day, and wouldn't say I was consistently in the 10, 11 range, but there was definitely, it's interesting. I talked to my buddy about this, was like the less intent that I have behind the pitch, right? So like more so of a passive mindset when I'm just like, all right, I'm going to flip this one in. Okay. But flip this one in, boom. That's when it's like 10, 11, 12 horizontal, pretty much where I want it. Very sweepy and very similar velocity compared to the one that I'm like, ooh, 1-2, righty up. I'm going to try to frickin' start this at his hip and end it in the frickin' first base dugout, and then that one is the one that's not as good. It's, like I said, similar velo, but it's getting now into like the 7-8 horizontal movement range, which due to probably the thought of like, hey, when I throw it hard, my fingers want to get behind the baseball, right? They want to apply force behind the baseball instead of the side. So when I think almost passively with this pitch, my fingers remain on the side and create a lot of side and gyro spin. But I'll get some slow-mo videos at release of this pitch so you guys can see what it's actually doing in my hand at release. That's what I'm thinking with that pitch. But crevices, finger, horseshoe, right side, drop it down. Almost your middle finger almost kind of falls into that little crevice there of the baseball seam here. Kind of falls into that to where your seam of the baseball is in the crevice of your middle, but then the tip of your middle is also pulling that horseshoe. And then like I said earlier, like I like having this index finger and that crevice kind of pulling there. I like to feel pulling down seams, right? And then like I said with the thumb, it's just one of those things. It's a comfort placement type deals. So that's what we got. Be sure to go to my website, therobbyrowshow.com, and check out all of my pitch grip tutorial breakdowns. I have literally every single pitch there that you can check out. And I only update them when the grip changes, which I'll probably have to do another update for my change-up. Okay, shout out Clean Fuego for the dope shirt. Use discount code Robby at checkout.